Hey everyone, Meteorologist Sydney Goldberg here from the First Alert Desk, and it's a nice start to this Tuesday. Here's a live look outside in our Sky 9 camera. This is overlooking False River. We have blue water out there and bright blue skies. Not seeing any clouds out there either, but it's going to be another very hot day to start off this work week. Already into the mid to upper 80s for most places, although we are seeing some low 90s already. 91 in New Orleans and Bogalusa. Here in Baton Rouge though, we're at 87, as well as up in Macomb, 87, 88. In Hammond. Yesterday was not only a really hot day, but also we had a good bit of storm activity for the second half of the day. We ended up reaching 97 for our high yesterday. Our normal high is typically in the low 90s, so 92, that's 5 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year. I do think we're going to see another day in the upper 90s today. So speaking of the heat, the National Weather Service did issue a heat advisory that includes southern Mississippi as well as southeast Louisiana, except for those coastal parishes not underneath that. So that'll remain until 7 p.m. this evening, and that's because we could see feels like temperatures or those heat index values peaking near 108, maybe even 110 in some spots through the peak daytime heating hours of the day. So in terms of our actual temperatures, we'll continue to climb. I do think we'll reach a high of 96 today, so not quite 97, but still going to be very hot through the afternoon. Also in the afternoon, we'll have to watch for some scattered and isolated storms through the afternoon. And then once we see the sun start to set and we lose the daytime heating, rain chances will also drop off, and it'll still be quite warm as we head into the overnight hours, running around to the low 80s by 9 o'clock. So I'll show you what I'm talking about in terms of the rain chances on the futurecast here. Here's the graph model. We're keeping it dry through the first half of the day. That's noon. Once we get to 1, then we could start to see a few storms start to pop up, and then into the late afternoon as well. A lot of it though stays along the coast or up into southern Mississippi of the showers and storms that we do see popping up around 4 o'clock, and then into the early evening as well. We could see some of those bubbling up, but then like I mentioned, they'll dissipate once we get into the late evening and overnight hours. So not going to be quite as widespread as we encountered yesterday. All right, we've got a lot to talk about in the tropics. Not only we're still tracking Hurricane Erin, but there's also 2 other areas that we're watching for potential tropical development. Here's what Erin looks like right now. The latest advisory came out an hour ago at 10 a.m. The biggest thing you may notice is that it's quite lopsided, not very as organized as it was, and that's because it's encountering a lot of wind shear. Wind shear usually rips up those hurricanes, and that's what we're seeing here. It's weakening. The pressure now up to 961 millibars, sustained winds at 105. So as of the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center, they have kept it at a Category 2 hurricane, so I'll show you that. But first, we do have tropical storm warnings in effect for parts of Turks and Caicos, tropical storm watch, the blue, for parts of the Bahamas, and for our friends on the East Coast, we have tropical storm warnings for coastal Carolinas, as well as tropical storm watches, the blue here, all the way up into Virginia and parts of Maryland. And that's because as the storm takes that right turn, which it's still going to take, not going to make landfall to the East Coast, but the storm is expected to get bigger in size, and so with that, the wind field is also going to expand. Here's what the current wind field looks like. So the red or the dark orange here is hurricane force winds. The orange and the yellow is tropical storm force winds. So this circle, this wind field, is going to expand as it makes that turn, which is why our friends on the East Coast are not only going to experience deadly surf conditions and really intense rip currents, also could get on the edge of tropical storm force winds. This is a product issued by the National Hurricane Center showing by as early as Wednesday night, Wednesday evening, we could start to see some tropical storm force winds entering the East Coast and into the end of the week as well as that storm takes that turn. So that's why, even though it's not expected to make landfall, we're still going to see impacts to the East Coast with that storm. Like I mentioned, Hurricane Erin is not the only thing that we're monitoring in the tropics. We have 2 other areas right behind Erin. This one here, this orange color, that has a medium chance of developing through the next week. This looks like it's going to take, if not the exact path as Erin, a very similar one. So we're not too concerned about this in terms of impacts. The one behind it though, that's tagged for 30% for both the next couple of days and through the week. This one, the track is a little bit more uncertain, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Also, it's like a bit tricky because it looks like it's going to encounter some non-conducive environment conditions, so that's also going to make the intensity forecast difficult as well as the track with that. So for now, we're just going to have to monitor. But in fact, it's been tagged as the Invest 99L, so we are seeing some spaghetti plots with that, and right now the track is that it's heading near the Lesser Antilles. Beyond that, it's still very uncertain. So we're just going to have to keep watching that for now. Back here at home, we're continuing to deal with the heat. We've got 96 today, tomorrow also a few storms through the afternoon. The pattern is going to change by the end of the week though. We'll see elevated rain chances returning, and what that's going to do is help bring some heat relief. Highs back into the low 90s, which for this time of year is right near normal. So Jeff Morrow will have more on the heat as well as updates on the tropics for you over on 9 News at noon.